You're listening to the Life in General podcast with Tom and Jaye. An hour of informative commentary on today's headlines, current events, and what's going on around the world and around the corner. And now, here are your hosts, Tom and Jaye Darden.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Life in General podcast here with Tom and Jaye, coming at you with a very special episode, number 52. We've done it, folks. Yeah. Woo! Add in post a celebration to, liven things up a little bit. So we've done it. It's been 1 year, once a week worth of videos, something that we're pretty proud of just for the fact that we've done something for a year, right? It's being consistent with things, and trying to get through, this, that, and the other. It's kind of wild, and sometimes things fall off, and you got to hop back on the wagon. But we've done it. So 1 year down, and some more to go. We will definitely have to see. We appreciate you all coming through with us and being a part of this little project here, and it has been quite a ride. Had some fun information, dire straits, some dastardly deeds, and all that. So we love you very much, and let's kick it off the same way we do every time and ask the man of the hour how he is down there in sunny Ecuador and see what's up. So, hey, Dad, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Just motoring along down here. Life's good on the beach.
I bet.
So, yeah, everything's kind of quiet down here.
Oh, well, that's very fair.
Yeah.
I'm sure the 85 weather days, pretty consistently, doesn't get old.
No, we're not mad at them.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. We're not mad at them at all.
Cool. Well, we have some kind of interesting topics here today to talk about. We're just going to jump right into it. We had mentioned briefly about, I think it was last episode, very possibly, or maybe the episode before that, where we had a brief discussion about baby formula. And it was a scenario that it was kind of in a juxtaposition against paying for this, giving money away to Ukraine versus, hey, we don't have food on the shelves, kind of like they said this and versus that. And it's a scenario, at least from my understanding, that the juxtaposition isn't necessarily warranted, but more so used as a tool to stir the proverbial pot. But yes, I think you have some more information on that. So what'd you find?
The coolest thing that I heard this week was somebody said that you can go to Amazon and at the bottom of the page, you can switch from the United States to Canada.
Yeah.
And order all you want and have it shipped right to your front door.
You mean
because they're
as an American or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they said they ship, so ship it. Come on, man, bring it on. And they don't have a shortage up there. And what was interesting is Abbott Industries or Abbott Laboratories is who makes a large percentage of the baby formula. Okay, they had a recall. They knew this was coming back in October of last year because they had a huge recall. They shut down the Sturgis, Michigan plant, which processes a whole lot of baby formula.
Oh, yeah.
And the government has awarded the contract for the SNAP program and the WIC program and the programs to help the people with the formula.
Right.
To one company. And it's Abbott Laboratories. So, all of a sudden, they've got a huge recall. They've got children getting sick. Now, so far, I don't think any of them have passed away, that's great news. But you've put all your eggs in one basket, basically, with Abbott. Now, Abbott's trying to cut a deal with the FDA. How do you cut a deal with the FDA? I want to know because I want to figure out how to cut that deal myself. If you had something go wrong, then fix it. But now the FDA has given them like a 33 page program that they've got to follow to get back in the game.
For sure.
And
it's nuts.
They said it's still going to be 6 to 8 weeks before the first can hits the shelf, and that's if they start cleaning things up tomorrow.
Right. Well,
I mean, it's just man. Yeah. They said even if they opened back up the Sturgis plant, they had to sanitize it and desterilize it and all that kind of crap. But it would still be 6 or 8 weeks. So you're still looking at that. But yeah, order that stuff from Amazon, man, if you need it.
Well, to all the baby havers out there, if you need some stuff that might not be on the shelf right now, right? Order from Amazon Canada.
That's right. That's right. That's what they said do. Just switch it from USA to Canada and have them ship it to your front door. I love that. That's great. So, well, we'll see what happens.
Sure. Well, that kind of leads into two thoughts. One being you have a company like Amazon that's a world like reaching entity, and that just to me sounds wild. I would think there'd be laws against it just because of the taxation, right? Like if you buy it from here but you come from Canada, well, they have different shipping and different import export laws, etc. Now a lot of people follow the same kind of pattern, but there are still differences. And one thing to note with that, you'd think it might be more expensive or cheaper depending on like what way the loony's going that day, right?
It's $1.30 right now. Mm-hmm. They pay $1.30 for every dollar that we pay. They pay 30 cents more on the dollar right now. The Canadian people that are retired down here keep up with that. And so for every $100 they get out of the ATM, that they lose $30. And I'm like, damn. Plus the foreign, ATM fee they charge you, and then the bank charges you a fee, and the machine charges you a fee, and everybody's got to get their damn hand in your pocket. But yeah, that's ridiculous, man. And then of course the Border Patrol agent filmed the baby formula coming into the border, so that they could make them out to be liars, like we know they are. All the baby formula is being shipped in there. And then somebody else filmed it being loaded onto the transport plane, going over to Ukraine and stuff. And it's like, man, are you kidding? Really?
Well, something as well that it makes me think of that. I mean, not sure how well versed folks are on the like actually knowing that between like 6 and 10 companies control everything we consume. Like, by that I mean nutritionally, right? Where, like Kellogg's, Nestle, all these folks. Well, I say all of them. There's only like 10 when you get to the tippy top, and it's something where you're talking about don't put all your eggs in one basket. Well, I mean that's kind of what we've done, right? General Mills, things like that, where entities become so large that they just start consuming companies, right? To kind of get them into the fold, as it were, and then it just gives you more control. It's a little bit, unnerving when you think about it, but it like stuff's going to happen, and it's going to be difficult to stop that force, I'll say, because they have the power, right? They have money, they have reach, they have all sorts of things, and then recently, or I'll say more recently, kind of referencing back to Bo Burnham's Inside, which if you all haven't watched it, you definitely should. One of my favorite pieces in that is when he is kind of doing satire of companies. And he says, it's no longer about the fight against Lyme disease. Totino's Pizza Rolls or whatever is going to, like, are you going to join them in the fight against Lyme disease, right? So, like, they're utilizing their brand awareness to use political issues or other motivating things to generate more brand awareness. So it's just like, it's ridiculous to a degree. I mean, look at folks going nuts over Chick-fil-A, right? Where it was a very interesting kind of yes or no picture of seeing people like, I went to Chick-fil-A 8 times that week. And then you have some people like, well, I'm never going to eat this queer hating chicken again, right? Like that sort of silliness. But the shortage is, hearkening or coming back kind of full circles, pardon the digression. Stuff's sitting out there, man. Like you could try to get it air freighted in, but it would be an interesting air shipment to do formula and stuff like that. And one of the reasons they don't want you to import the food and shit like that is FDA, APHIS, TSCA, like toxic substance stuff, APHIS being kind of like the produce and farm animal or animal sorts of things, fish and wildlife, shit like that, man. That is complicated and a lot can go wrong. And if you think that, CBP is bad, like just regular customs is bad, well, FDA is a partnering government agency. It's not technically the same people, right? So you have the original hoops you have to jump through for CBP or the U.S. Customs, and then you have all this FDA shit that you need. You need all of the manufacturing information, all the packaging information. It has to be packaged correctly. You have to know, or the foreign entity has to sign up with FDA in the United States for them to be able to make something or process something like a food, right? And then have it be sent in, because they're going to go and inspect your freaking plant. Like they're going to make sure things are up to snuff. So that's one of the reasons too why they're not going to necessarily make it be that easy, and just stringent rules. Like that's one of the issues with importing food in general. Food, beverages, whatever.
They said they wouldn't let them import anything from Sweden or Finland, who has stricter rules than the United States does. Stricter rules. And they wouldn't let him import anything from there. And that's, to me, that's just incredible. But, what struck me the other day was somebody said something about the $40 billion to Ukraine. Why don't you keep that $40 billion here and finish the wall?
Yeah, because it's not on people's priority list. It's not on the folks in power's priority list at all. It's more,
and I'm glad you said that, because the power is changing with the primaries that they had yesterday, recently in Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Kentucky, Idaho, and Oregon. They had primaries for some Senate seats and some governor seats and some district attorneys and stuff. And it's pretty interesting to see how it shook out. And I was hoping that Dr. Oz would take Pennsylvania. But, when I went to bed, they were neck and neck, and I woke up, this is another nightmare. I woke up, they were 0.3 percentage points apart.
No, I have no doubt.
Yeah, it was 31.5 and 31.2. Well, if you're under 0.5% in Pennsylvania, it triggers a recount.
Yeah, you got to do a recount every time. Yeah,
the whole thing. Yeah, if it's under 0.5%. Right. If it's not, then okay.
Yeah, that's a big enough disparity.
They still got 20,000 mail-in ballots that they hadn't counted, and then some company put the wrong barcode on there, or the wrong station address, or the wrong election number, or some bullshit. You got another 20,000 votes that can't be processed because they don't have the right numbers on them. This is this bullshit all over again, man. And I don't know why they're letting them get away with this stuff, man. I really don't. So we'll see what shakes out of that. They said the absentee ballots, the military, ballots, overseas ballots, and absentees, it could be up to a week before those are counted. No, you start counting those beforehand. You don't wait till you've got them, because they've got to be there by a certain time to be counted or to be valid. So you don't wait till 2 days after the election and then start counting absentee ballots. That's bullshit, man. If you've had them for a week before the election started, early voting.
Yeah.
The same with early voting, man. They're tracking that. They know they're tracking it.
Oh, I'm sure.
So put it in there, man. Put it in the count. When I was growing up, we went to the polls. The polls closed at 7:00, and everybody gathered around the TV because before you went to bed that night, 10:00, you knew who won. You knew who won. And you talked about the election. Might not have been who you wanted to win, but you talked about the election that night before you went to bed. Or you could knowledgeably talk about it the next morning because you knew who won before you went to bed. Now they're saying it could be a couple of weeks. Get out of here with that shit, man. I just don't believe it. I don't believe it. It's going to be a cluster from here to November. Vote them out. Vote every one of them out.
Yeah, that's that'll be unique to see how all that shakes out and what sort of scandals may come about from that sort of thing. Like,
yeah, and I was a congressional person, I wouldn't want Trump's endorsement. I don't care how much weight it carries. I wouldn't want to be tied to him, man. Tie me to somebody fresh. Give me Rich Strike, man. Give me somebody that came out of the pack, that wasn't nobody planning on. Don't tie me to that old worn out horse, man. Come on.
Well, the reason why the backing is significant is because no one is going to take it for face value when you have a horse that's 80-1 that randomly wins. Like, that's just unheard of. I mean, that was the second highest stakes horse that had ever won, and it was absolutely ridiculous. But the problem with that is people know who Trump is, or they would know who Biden or Obama is, right? There's a weight that they carry for good or for bad. It can be either way, and I'm sure the swings are absolutely nuts, but you can't just have somebody fresh and fit and all of that and say, well, I'm backing this person. Well, someone's going to think, well, who the hell is that? Like, it's just not how these things are done.
Well, it's funny because one of the junior senators, I forget where he was. I want to say Oregon, but I'm not sure. Cawthorn, he lost, and he'd done a 2-year gig in the Senate. Young guy, probably 26, 27 years old. Sure. Young guy. They just said he's too immature, and he just acting like a kid and doing stupid shit. So they voted his ass out. So you can have term limits. You can vote them out, man. You can vote them out. Right. And speaking of voting, and you've got to watch this. You've got to watch this. 2,000 Mules.
Okay, 2,000 Mules.
2,000 Mules, the movie by Dinesh D'Souza.
Okay.
Before it's banned. Okay.
Okay.
They've got 4 million minutes of footage of election fraud.
Okay.
And they show it to you. They show it all to you. I mean, there's no doubt that they were up to no good. And they being whoever was doing the ballots and shit, man. You can't have ballot boxes. You can't have a ballot box that's unmanned, because then they're just going to go shove ballots in there that don't belong. Okay, I'm going to go to the ballot box, and I'm taking Pat's ballot, my ballot, and her mom's ballot. Of course, mom's in a wheelchair, so she can't go. Okay, so I go to the ballot box where the guy's standing there, and he goes, hey, and I got these 3 ballots, and I shove them in there. Well, I can't go and get 10 more and come back, because he's going to go, hey, man, weren't you here earlier? I recognize you, man. They go to the ballot boxes. They're like mailboxes on the street corner. You got to watch this movie. It's incredible. They have people that they track these people by their phones, GPS wise, and it shows them going to numerous ballot boxes, not to pick up, but to drop off. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, the proof they have.
How do they
of the shit
track
that went
them
on
their phones like that?
Well, how does the military track people? How does law enforcement track people?
Law enforcement doesn't technically.
Everybody tracks on the phone.
That's
and
fair.
Everybody's
That's fair. But
see, somebody else came up with that same question.
Isn't military? It's not law enforcement.
You can't track people on their phone. Bullshit. Everybody's doing it. Everybody's tracking you on their phone.
Remember when we had the conversation about the high road and low road there? I just want to know how they're doing it. I don't really, honestly, about legality. I mean, yeah, of course they're tracking all the time. How do you think that we utilize our mapping system and it says traffic's there? Because it's pinging off of your phone back up to the satellites all the time. And they're listening and they're tracking, and that's totally fine. That's not a big deal. My question is how is Dinesh D'Souza and his crew tracking folks? I want to know.
Election Security Integrity Division track these people.
Okay.
I'm sure they explained it. I was so flabbergasted. I need to watch it a couple of more times. Now it costs money to watch it.
Sure.
But I need to watch it a couple of more times because there's so much
money to watch it.
Well, nothing in this world's free, man. You think I'm going to give you that much entertainment or that much fun or put out that much information for nothing? Come on, man.
I think if you're wanting to do the right thing and it's about integrity and about showing people the truth, I'm air quoting like a crazy man today, why not make it free?
I didn't ask them. I just said, how do we watch this? And that's how you watch it.
Right. My point here is if it was good news, like actual news that we all needed to be privy to, and something that could swing or could change minds and open up locked doors and blah, 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 it shouldn't cost you anything.
We're going with nothing's free, man. Everybody's got to get paid. So,
okay.
I don't know why it costs money, man. That's irrelevant. It's the information they're providing that's relevant. And of course, like we say every week, nobody's going to do anything about it. They're not going to do anything about it. It's so blatant, it's not even funny. And they even show you people, and I don't want to be a spoiler, but they even show you people that have gloves on. Mm-hmm. They've got surgical gloves on and a big freaking stack of ballots about this big.
Yeah.
And they walk up there and they shove these, they even drop them on the ground and pick them up. And they're shoving these ballots in the ballot box and then take their gloves off and throw them in the trash can next to the ballot box and get in their vehicle and go drive off. Really? Really? What you got to have gloves on for, man, if you're not breaking the law or doing anything you shouldn't? It ain't like there's cooties on the ballots unless you picked them up maybe from the nursing home or the hospital where people are either dying or dead or unable to vote, and you fill that in for them. Oh, it's a cluster, man. You got to see it. Got to see it. You got to see it, man.
Well,
got to see it.
Around that time, when they were doing, what was that, around 2020, right?
Yes.
Well, okay.
No, don't give me that COVID bullshit either. I ain't going for it.
There is no pleasing you.
Not tonight. Nope. No, not tonight.
Not on 52, damn it. Not on 52.
This is it. We should have done a year in review and we wouldn't even have to come on. You just could have put cuts on from
nice.
the whole.
Yeah, exactly. Download little pieces and snippets that I want.
There you go, man. So, just watch the clock and just stick some, come on, man. And sad.
Exactly. Just do the Life in General supercut there like they do.
The outtakes, there you go.
Well, the problem with that is hell, you'd get copyright struck because everything would be not content from us. It'd be from random movies and shit or on news or whatever. But
that's right.
2,000 Mules, I'll have to look into it a little. That's kind of like or it gives me the same vibe of that. What was the social media movie?
Oh, The Network or something like that, or
something like Social Dilemma or something like the social something like that.
Yeah, I think it was The Social Dilemma.
And where you watch that and your head's about to explode because they're tracking you all the time through all these social media means. And what I love is the Facebook ghost accounts where they know that I exist if you, Mom, Melissa, XYZ people are there, they know there's another entity connected there somehow. It's absolutely wild, man.
Even though you don't have an account, they still got you.
Right.
Yeah. That's how they're tracking you.
Well, it's
that's how it's tracking you.
Yeah, man. Absolutely outrageous. But yeah, that just kind of made me like I was pondering, okay, what services did they use to get that information? But if it actually is the fraud division of that, then that's totally fine. It's not Dinesh, a private entity.
No,
like a person going after these folks, but it's more like, hey, look.
It's a government. I don't want to say it's a government agency, but it's the agency that the government contracts with for election integrity.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So they all ought to be shot anyway. But I mean, they do show all that's going on. And I was watching something the other day, and they were referring to a judge on this law enforcement program, and they said, oh, they're going to put him before, Joe Blow, and one of the guys said, oh, let him go, Joe. I thought that's pretty catchy. Let him go, Joe, and they let the guy off in the series I was watching. And
I was going to say that could have
let him go, Joe.
Well, I think the connotation that you're thinking of is let them go, Joe, like saying let Joe go.
No, he's letting all the bad guys that come before him go.
No.
He's a judge. He's a judge.
I understand that. My assumption is that you are thinking about Joe Biden when you're saying this. That's the correlation.
Oh, well, yeah. I'm thinking, let him go, Joe. You let everybody go. Let him go. Yeah. Don't you sass me.
Yeah. No touch. No. Well, and speaking about letting a lot of convicts and stuff go, one thing on here that you wanted to kind of poke at too is crime across the country. And oh, baby. Now, granted,
my God.
Yeah, we know that obviously crime happens all the time. It's happening right now. But it used to not be shoved in your face 24/7, where people have to make things provocative and make things that you're going to want to continue to watch.
Well, Beetlejuice is up there banning books in Chicago. The mayor.
No, I know who you're speaking of, but what books are they banning?
I don't know. I didn't even click on the news feed because it said she's banning books, and it shows her standing in a library or somewhere reading a book while Chicago is going up in flames. So she's fiddling while Rome burns. And she's got a short amount of time, and they'll boot her ass out too. She's
the mayor of somewhere? What are you saying?
She's the mayor of Chicago.
Chicago mayor book banning. I want to see that.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Lori Lightfoot book banning tweet did this.
Beetlejuice.
Yeah. Okay.
Beetlejuice.
So let's see here. Roasted for hypocritical tweet about book banning. In Texas, reading any damn book I choose. No banning books of books or thought ever. And this is on May 14th. No, she's not banning any books. She's saying we're not gonna ban anything. Not now, not ever. So then she is doing it.
What the hell is she doing in Texas when Chicago's on fire, man? Chicago is on fire.
Well, you gotta move around and see how other states do it, right? So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, she's not checking with law enforcement. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure if it's showing this saying, "Hey, look." She says, "Don't do this," but she is doing it. So, yeah, I don't know. This is probably where you found the freaking article, because this website's called Red State, so it's just gonna straight up.
How dare you?
Just sound like you, man. That's funny as hell.
How dare you talk about me in a red state like that?
Oh yeah. Tennessee is. Yeah. I just got my new license plate.
They don't give a damn about that. The only thing they care about is what month you got it and whether it's expired or not, what year it is. And
well,
what
I was
month,
going to say, sometimes I don't even care about that because my buddy who will remain nameless to not implicate them, has been running on like a 3-year-old tag. So
I love that. That's just funny as hell right there, man.
Oh, yeah. Kind of wild, but...
But we ain't going to beat up law enforcement, man.
No, not in the slightest.
Because you had 17 wounded in Milwaukee this past weekend. Orange County, California had 1 killed and 5 wounded. Winston-Salem, North Carolina, you had 7 wounded. Texas, you had 3 killed and 9 wounded. And then in Buffalo, you had 10 killed and 3 wounded. So that was just the weekend from Friday to Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
But let me ask you, do you know what constitutes a mask for them to be able to label mass shooting?
Oh, like what causes that to be mass?
Yeah.
I would say more than a certain amount of casualties. 4
or more injured or killed. Injured or killed. They considered a mass shooting. I just wondered how they, why they labeled it that. What when you label that, what's going on? But I don't understand. We talked about the Waffle House shooter. They caught him. He killed 4 people. How did he make it to the jail? I don't get that, man. This guy killed 10 people and wounded 3. You caught him. You talked him into putting down his weapon and taking off the body armor. What? How did he make it to the jail? How did he make it to the freaking jail? So now you've got this long, drawn-out process of, it'd have been over just like that if somebody had shot him.
Well,
take him out. Take him out, man. And be finished with it. But now you got to, Joe was there today, and he's so stupid that he mispronounced several people's names. And he called somebody a doctor when they were a preacher, and he called somebody, a cowboy when they were an Indian. He's out in left field with no glove and his shoes untied, man. It's really a sad situation for America because he's the leader of the free world.
Well, I was going to say, I'm out in left field with with no glove, my shoes untied all the time, and I'm only 34, so.
But you're trying to catch butterflies with your glove, though, that are going by.
I wasn't a big stand around and catch butterflies thing. I was more like, coach, I'll be on the bench. Leave me alone.
Okay. But he made a fool of himself again today, trying to memorialize, and it's all white supremacy. It's all white supremacy because, most of the people he killed were black and the guy that did the shooting was white.
It wasn't just that. The person had like several, he was either several tens or a couple hundred pages, like manifesto kind of letter, and was on.
It wasn't a manifesto.
No, what? Okay.
It was no, because somebody said that and somebody else said no, it wasn't a manifesto where he was proclaiming that he was starting a new religion or starting a cult or starting this new country. All it was a bunch of jumbled up shit, and it was like 136 pages that he left there. And they said some of the stuff even contradicted each other. It was really just jabbering.
Well, I would assume. Okay. That's very fair if we're gonna say it's just jabbering, but
be careful. You be careful.
I shall not. Having that sort of,
he had a plan.
May not be a manifesto, but what was insane was, other than that act actually happening, it was filmed on Twitch. Like they live streamed that shit.
He did.
Yeah. He live streamed going, and I'm thinking,
right?
Holy crap, man! Like, you want to talk about taking something where Twitch was originally started to have it could have been started for some other reason, but when I got into it or heard about it, it was something to share what you're doing with others that was most likely a video game. And now it is used as it's another platform, right? And that platform being utilized to live feed like your fucking massacre it flabbergasts me. That to me just makes me lose my mind a little bit, because it's one of those scenarios where someone isn't utilizing a tool correctly, and it frustrates me, because that's just that's how I be. So to that end, it's going to make this person infinitely more famous, right? To say, you want to go, like, you want to see something wild, and then you can go out there. I'm sure it's somewhere online, right? And it's terrifying. Like, that sort of a thing. Like, I can't imagine being in that situation, but to be able to watch that sort of thing, I mean, you can find stuff like that online if you want to, but it's something where a lot of the times, if you wanted to watch something weird or raunchy or whatever, you can find anything on the internet, but just the fact that, like, it was something that was mainstream, because Twitch is pretty mainstream. It's got a lot of people watching Twitch all the time because people are hanging out digitally, and like there's channels for just chatting, or hell, somebody walks in the damn rain in Japan and people are just loving it. I mean, they're super exciting, right? But to take that and utilize it in that way just crawls under my skin. I'm not a fan.
The guy had a mental situation where he was evaluated at the mental hospital, and they proved him unfit.
Well, supposedly that he planned it for a while, and people saw this plan, because if I remember correctly, he friggin' planned half of it on Discord, like channels or whatever. Then he went and bought
the weapons and the ammo and all this shit, the body armor and all that shit, and nothing was flagged when they did the background check. And New York is supposed to have one of the toughest gun laws in the United States. Well, how did this idiot from Conklin, New York, how was he able to legally get a gun?
Did they
he legally bought the gun and the ammo and the mock military camouflage fucking
the Kevlar
suit? Yeah.
So my question is, if he bought it legally, did he buy it in New York, and where did he purchase it from? Right?
I don't know, but he got it there, and I don't know where he bought it in New York, but he did buy it in New York. Yes.
Riddle me this, Batman.
And the background check didn't show up any paperwork that wasn't in his file or listed or put into the system.
Riddle me this. Do you partially blame the person who ran the background check possibly incorrectly, if that was the case?
No, because we've run a shit ton of them. And when I was working at the pawn shop, we ran a shit ton of background checks, and you have no idea. All you do is you go by what the boy or girl says on the yellow form, and you punch all that stuff in, and it goes to the TBI and the FBI, and then you can get it back in 10 minutes, or if there's a gun show, it could be an hour. But you don't. All you do is plug in what they tell you. Now, if they're lying to you, that's on the other end for them to know and to figure out. I mean, you innocently don't know. They'll come back and tell you. They'll come back and tell you, and they'll come back and say, hold them till the police get there. I mean, it's yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I'm waiting on your background check to come back. No, actually, I'm waiting on the police to come pick your ass up because there's an outstanding warrant for your ass. So
something that is kind of unique there, having a firearm license to carry in certain states. It's states that have medical marijuana cards, and then they say you got to pick one. You can't have both, right? They don't want you getting high and lighting something up, even though the only thing you're going to light up is the bagel, like the 8th bagel you're going to eat after getting the munchies and shit. But it's yeah.
You got to light up the toaster when it doesn't
exactly
put it out fast enough.
Yeah, it's something that is kind of unique, because I think Nicole talked about that a little bit, right? Where you can only have one or the other, you can't have both, and
That's pretty interesting.
that's pretty fascinating,
Yeah.
right? But because I'm thinking, sorry to all our Arkansas listeners out there, but I'm thinking, hell, everyone's going to have a friggin' gun out in the boonies, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yep. You're right. I couldn't see picking one or the other. Of course, you're not going to tell anybody, if you've got a carry permit that you're getting high, or you're buying the CBD oil or the pipe or the whatever you're doing, man.
Well,
So,
that to me would be where those would come into play, right? If you did, let's say, have a
Right.
firearm, and then you go to the doctor and get your medical card, or try to, you would assume the damn systems are going to be linked, right? And say,
right.
hey, they have one. Are they turning in the other card? Are they are they moving things around a little bit? Or
Right.
have you
Sure.
have you become an herbal pacifist, or are you
Are you homegrown?
yeah, are you becoming homegrown, or are you possibly do you have your license to ill? So
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's pretty funny.
well, something else too about this. One of the guys, I think it was the dude who shot up the church, like 5 injured and one deceased. That motherfucker was 68 years old. He's as old as you are, man. Could you imagine in there?
Easy now. Yeah.
Or your walker
Take your oxygen tank, and your AR is hanging from the walker.
Exactly. I mean, it just was ridiculous. I'm thinking, if this guy wants to go out, because presumably that's the guy you're gonna shoot, right? I'm going to assume he didn't have a whole lot of body armor on and all of that.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey man, just walk out into traffic or something. Don't put anybody else at risk. Just jump off the bridge when the semi's coming and just explode.
He just wants to die by cop, man. Get his name in the newspaper.
Well, and
let the cops shoot him. The security guard was a retired Buffalo police officer in the grocery store.
Yeah.
He shot the guy, and the Kevlar stopped it from being a fatal shot. And then he shot the police officer and killed him.
Yeah,
it's
a
like,
bad deal.
That right there constitutes instant death to me. Instant death. Shoot him in the head. Shoot him in the head, man. I mean, with body armor on, shoot him in the head.
Okay, Joe, it's not as easy to do, and aim for the leg and all that stupid bullshit. It's center of mass.
No, that's Ron. That's Ron White saying, "Shoot him in the head." I can see him. You're streaming this live. Shoot him in the fucking head. I can.
Yeah, his kids playing video games and shit.
Yeah.
But yeah. That's not going to happen. And you and I went to that active shooter training sort of deal where they're like, yeah, you tunnel vision and you shoot off like 18 rounds, full mags are going. There's no aiming. It's not like in the movies where you see the one guy, I got him, and then he shoots him from like 30 yards away with a pistol, and it's like, and no, that's bullshit.
He's spinning it around and sticking it back in the holster.
Yeah, just The Quick and the Dead would be the name of my shootout, where it would be quick and I'd be dead. That'd be about how that would go. But
wow, it's pretty crazy.
It is, but you keep saying something that's pretty unique. Are you prepared?
I am.
Okay. How many police officers have you known?
Oh my gosh. Too many to count. I worked at the sheriff's office.
How many of those police officers do you think want to shoot someone?
Oh, no, none of them wanted to shoot anybody.
Okay.
Now, I've known a couple that have.
Did it... Well, we won't get into their personal stories, but the point we're trying to get at here is, you say, shoot him. One of the points about being a police officer is to be able to remain somewhat more calm in those situations and have the ability to de-escalate and try to not use violence. It might come down to it. That'll happen. But you don't have a lot of police officers.
He killed 10 people, dog.
You don't have a lot of police officers who actively want to go around and shoot somebody. I mean,
I don't know. Nowadays, the way people are acting, they probably won't too much.
That's fair. That may definitely have changed in recent decades. But the point being is this, and yes, there are some cops out there. Thank you all for your service, whether or not some very well are bad apples, just like everybody, right? I mean, people are going to be people. But I don't think they actively go around wanting to do that. So no,
they don't. They don't.
Obviously not. They want to go home.
That's an interesting scenario right there, though.
What's that?
The mass shooter. That's something that you don't think you're going to face every day. So
exactly. A lot of the cops that I have spoken to, one of their biggest goals is everyone going home alive. And them especially going back to their families and all that. Every time you say shoot them, who? Who do you want to have on their conscience killing somebody? Even if they killed 100 people, right? Like, for the greater good, I can see this scenario now of, well, do we kill this one infant baby to, save 1,000 others? I mean, that's where that leads into, is that sort of a sacrifice kind of thing, right? Is kill him. It's like shoot him, sounding like Sam Harrison or whomever, and it's not that easy.
Okay. So now New York's got to take care of him for the next 40 years, unless somebody offs him in prison.
Mm-hmm.
But you could plan on that, probably.
I would say, if it's the guy, up in New York, I could see very possibly him being taken down on the inside, and maybe that's going to happen. I mean, they could put him, on block L, where it's nothing but murderers, and then boom, it's over. What you got to watch for is the guy who does the same thing but is a little bit crazy, and then they put him on the block where everyone's in solitary. No one interacts. But what that means is there's not a chance for anybody to kill each other. So,
right.
I mean, it's just kind of wild. But yeah, like...
Well, Jeffrey Epstein killed himself, right?
Yeah, very, cameras going down, guards asleep, whole sort of scenario there. But it's... yeah.
Oh gosh.
Well, maybe he's gonna Epstein. Who knows? Now, do I think this person deserves to die? No, I don't think anyone deserves to die, really. Like, an eye for an eye makes the world go blind, right? So look at it like that. Do we want to have more violence or solve violence with violence? Because that's just going to generate more violence, right? It would be, I would say. Now, granted, you can get into the death penalty thing. We talked about that before, and yada yada, and that's fine. But it's tough. Like, it's a really heavy burden to bear, being the hero in that situation, knowing, hey, I did the right thing, but you still took someone else's life.
Okay.
I mean, good, bad, or ugly. Like, the movies and things can sensationalize it. TV and all that shit can sensationalize these things like, I'm the hero. And yeah, some days you might feel like that. And then some days you might just friggin' break down because there's one less person walking the earth because of you. To me, I would think that would weigh very heavily on someone.
I guess it would. I guess so.
So it's, yeah, I don't know. Sorry for getting a little soapboxy, but that's something that got to be mindful of. Every action or every solution requires something, right? There's a price to pay in every action that we take, right?
Okay. I just think it's out of control, man. It's out of control.
Well, I think one thing too is
you're pardoning 75 people to let them out of jail to make room for these guys. Really? I mean, come on, man.
Well, if they're going to pardon somebody, presumably, I mean, you'd have to go in and look at everyone's cases and stuff to figure out if this is actually what should be happening. But if it's for, non-violent drug offenses, what's going to happen to prisons when they legalize every drug? I mean, it's going to burst open like a freaking piñata, So that's, I think, one of the reasons. And sorry if you guys can hear the lawnmowers in the back. They seem to want to come at 8 p.m. on a Thursday, but I guess there might be still just enough light to cause some trouble, or they're going to do such a shitty job that I'm not be able to see my lawn until they're gone because there's no light outside. So hey, good on them. But yeah, they the whole shtick with nonviolent crimes. They have white collar prison for a reason, right? Where it's fraud or it's some goofy theft or something silly where it was just they finally caught me and you were stealing little by little over time and whatnot. But it's just I don't know, it's kind of wild. But yeah, you got to watch out for that eye for an eye thing, man. It'll get you.
Well, I just don't think we should drag these people along, the scum of the earth that are going to take other people's lives like that. I don't see it, man.
Well,
I don't see it.
That's our justice system.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're right. You're exactly right.
And in other justice systems around the world, they could possibly do what you're saying. I mean, if this person was in Texas and you had the 10 people out of the other 10 people, or 10 out of the 20 who didn't luckily get killed or pass away or whatever, that guy's gone. Instantaneous, just sort of thing. But
right.
Did it in New York. So.
Oh yeah, you're exactly right.
Yeah,
I don't know what the laws in New York are, but it's just another distraction from high gas prices and no baby formula and the supply chain crisis in Afghanistan, and you sending money to Ukraine. And you wait till Title 42 that Trump put into place expires the 23rd of this month. You've got about 5 more days. That's a remain in Mexico policy. Okay. Trump had an agreement with Mexico that while your paperwork's being processed, you'll remain in Mexico. You won't come into the United States and wait on your paperwork to be processed. You'll send your paperwork over to get processed, and you remain in Mexico.
Gotcha.
He had an agreement with the Mexican president to do that. Well, if Biden shuts down Title 42, they said you could see as many as 115,000 people a month coming across the border. Yes. We don't want you to have a voter ID card. We just want you to pull that lever that we tell you to pull. You don't need no voter ID card, man. Just pull that lever that we tell you to pull. You'll be fine. Yeah.
Well, it looks like New York. The removal of all equipment. Yeah, it looks like in 2008, Governor David Patterson in New York issued an executive order requiring the removal of all execution equipment from the state facilities.
Oh man!
Yeah, so Duder is going to ride that out.
This kid just executed 10 people. He just executed 10 people, and you've taken all the execution equipment out of the state. Get out of
in
here,
2008.
man. Yeah, get out of here.
But yeah, that's something else for sure. And it's very tragic losing someone, right? And then to have it happen in such a horrific way, our hearts go out to those folks, their families, and their community.
That's a bad deal, man. That's a bad deal.
It's a rough one.
Bad.
And something that I thought I read this on the guy who had the Not Manifesto pages and 4chan and Twitch and Discord and all this shit from what I read, there was, now, of course, this could be conjecture, it could be wrong or whatever, but from what I read, this person lived in a relatively, I don't want to say segregated place, but there just wasn't a whole lot of diversity, right?
Right.
And it's something that I think just exposure to different cultures, different people, just in general, is good for people. I mean, it shows you many different ways to think. It shows you, hey, everyone can be a good or a bad person. It shows that, they're everyone's people, just like we are, and they may have some folks might have different customs, but that can just be based on like your lineage, right? I mean, look at Italians, Germans, British people, etc. Like it can, be all sorts of things like that. But it's saddening to me, just like the circumstances, like all around, and just a bad deal. Like, get you a little bit. So,
it is a bad deal. But crime is just out of control all the way across America, man.
Well,
they're going to have to do something about it.
I think, to your point of things being distractions, they have to tell you about something new, something different to keep you coming back, and then also to keep it, just to keep you watching. I mean, because it would be kind of goofy as hell to have like gas prices. Okay, the next day, gas prices. Okay, the next, and just talk about the same shit. They have to They have to mix it up just enough to keep you engaged, scared, and involved, essentially. So,
right.
But this shit's wild.
I got to where I don't even watch a whole bunch of them that I used to watch. I used to watch the news or a lot of news feeds and stuff, and I don't watch near as many as I used to. And it's not because I don't get them down here. I mean, I can still get them, but I just don't watch them, or I don't listen to them. I used to listen to several different podcasts every day. I used to listen to Rush Limbaugh every day, man. Been listening to him for 10, 12 years, man.
Well, I was going to say, must, sit down there drinking and listening to podcasts. I could see you down there hooting and hollering and getting riled up. So, definitely better to, not go down that road. So,
yeah, they look at me funny when I start screaming at the TV or screaming at the radio, or something. They look at me kind of funny, go, crazy white man. So,
well, you said back in your day, like there was only 80 people voting, and so you knew who the election winner was at the tail end. Where now it's a little more complicated, and there's a few more people. So.
But with the technology we have, it doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be complicated with everything that we've got now. It doesn't have to be. It's been simple all these years, and now they're just trying to fuck shit up, man. That's all it is to it. It's all it is to it. But they're going to take a bath, and they'll vote them out. They're going to take a bath in November.
So
Congress, the Senate, and the Congress. And I wouldn't be surprised if when they came in November, they didn't impeach Joe Biden. Because, Pelosi ain't going to be there anymore. She's an idiot. She's out of California. She's out.
So
she's
you think she's not running again, or she's going to lose, or what? Is she going to pass?
I thought she was retiring, but she will definitely not be Speaker of the House. So she'll just crawl off into her little office and sit there and, draw her money or her husband's money or her paycheck or whatever, and not do shit, not be able to impact the United States like she's doing now. Walking through a salon with no mask on while everyone else is locked down or has a mask on. Yeah, get out of here, man. Can't forget that stuff, man. Can't forget what they've said and what they've done. You cannot forget that.
Oh, yeah. It's
they bullshitted you, man. Did you see where Fauci said he would not resume his post if Trump got reelected?
Okay.
They would probably kill him if he came into the White House and Trump was president, man.
Maybe.
He'd probably have him shot on the South Lawn or something, man. We don't know who that guy is. Shoot him on sight, Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody wants.
I just looked up Nancy Pelosi to make sure, she's still puttering around.
Yeah, barely.
82?
Yes.
Why do we have 70, 80... going close to 90-year-old people running the country, man. It doesn't make any
I
sense.
I bet you if you could find a scale where the you've got everybody's name listed and their state, it doesn't matter if they're Republican or Democrat, but their age out beside there. I bet you could find one somewhere that the age of all the House of Representatives and Senate. And the House of Representatives got like 325 or 350 people in it, and the Senate's got 100, 50-50. So I think if you would be startled at the amount of people that were over 70 or over that are running the government. I really do.
Yeah,
I really think it's going to be.
So for senators, the oldest senator, there are two, Chuck Grassley.
Yeah.
87.
Chuck Grassley.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Iowa. And then California, Dianne Feinstein, 87.
Yeah. Yeah. They got to go, man. You got to go. Got to go.
Yeah.
They've got to go, man.
Well,
almost 90 years old.
Oh, yeah. Like, absolutely freaking silly, man. Let's see. Age here, looking at the 5 youngest members of Congress. One is 25. That's Madison Cawthorn. That's North Carolina's 11th congressional district.
He just got voted out. That's the guy that lost.
Gotcha. And then age 31, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, 31.
Her real name is Sandy.
Okay.
Sandy Cortez is her name. She doesn't have all that other bullshit. It's all made up. So call her Sandy Cortez. Yeah.
Luckily,
she's an
in
idiot.
America, you can be whatever you want.
You're right. You can. And she went from being a bartender to Congress.
Okay.
Yeah. Tell me how that was pulled off.
Trump went from being a real estate mogul to president. So who fucking knows what's happening, right? Like,
yeah, you're right.
The average age per party per chamber, okay, in the Senate, Republicans average age 63. Democrats 63. The House, average age, Republicans 56. House Democrats 59. So the average age of fucking senators is like 62, essentially.
Okay.
And it's
draw your Social Security and take your ass home, because they're going to get a paycheck for the rest of their life. It's like $1.75 a year that they get the rest of their life, plus insurance benefits. So take your ass on home, get your money, and go, puff on your oxygen tank, man. Unfucking believable.
Yeah, it's nuts. But, well, we've hit our hour mark. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about there, good sir?
No, I'm out of my mind right now. I won't be able to sleep for 2 days.
I have no doubt in my mind. Well, just hit the pipe or have a few more beers and you'll be good to go. So, all good. But
you just think all we do is sit on the beach and drink beer, right?
No, not me. I've been down there. That shit gets boring. Like after a little bit, right? I mean, you can do it and say, "Oh, cool, that's okay," and then you have to move on because humans get bored. So that is the deal. Yeah. But episode 52 episodes coming at you live. Super exciting. Yep. Comment, subscribe. Yep.
Survive. Yes.
Yeah. Exactly. Make sure you turn on notifications to never miss an episode, and we will do it to it. So thank you all so very much for watching the Life in General podcast here with Tom and Jay. We will catch you all in the next episode.
See you.